to the Tuesday Night Touchdown Podcast with your hosts, Reese Downing and Jacob Workman.
What is up, everyone? Tuesday Night Touchdown Podcast, NCAA edition, week 5 picks. Season seems to be flying already. Week 5. It's crazy. Joining me as always, co-hosts Reese Downing. Reese, week 5 is, it's almost shitty to hear. The season's getting close to being halfway over.
Yeah, it's been flying so far.
So, week 4, it's had a few pretty good games, actually. The biggest game, Michigan, USC. Michigan did defeat USC 27-24 with a game-winning touchdown with 37 seconds left in the game. Michigan was able to win, even though quarterback Alex Orji only threw for 32 yards. That is an aerial assault. USC, I will say, much improved, though. They actually look like a very good team. For them to go on the road to Ann Arbor, I like what I'm seeing out of USC, actually. I'm a little surprised that they honestly should have won that game.
Yeah, definitely. I think a tale of two halves a bit. You know, Michigan, I think, was the better team in the first half. USC definitely looked better in the second. Alex Orji, I think they have the potential to make this offense look pretty good if they can figure out how to utilize him correctly. Yeah, but I think it was a good game all the way to the finish.
In Columbia, Missouri, the pisser Diego Pavia went in there and almost pulled one of the biggest upsets of the season. Missouri held on to win 30-27 in double overtime over Vanderbilt. That was quite the game too. Vanderbilt missed a very short field goal to tie the game, which was unfortunate. But that's Vanderbilt for you.
Yeah, Missouri's got to figure out how to come out quicker during games. That the defense was good, but that first score should have never happened for Vandy with that busted coverage. I think the most surprising thing to me with this team so far is just like Nate Noel has been a beast. I mean, he had almost 200 yards on 19 carries. He didn't get a score, but some of those conversions that happened with Noel, like if he wouldn't have had the game that he did, Missouri probably would have lost that game.
Yeah. So last week we played our favorite game, is Cam Rising playing? And we said yes because teammates said yes and seemed like he was playing. Well, guess what? He didn't play. I know that's the biggest surprise to anyone. Oklahoma State quarterback Alan Bowman ended up not playing either because he had a terrible start and then he was pulled. So it was two backup quarterbacks playing against each other. Bowman is the starting quarterback again this week, though it was said by Gundy. Utah was able to win this game in Stillwater 22-19, taking them to 4-0 on the season, and that pretty much gives them the upper hand on the way to the Big 12 championship so far. On the other side of the Holy War, the Mormons of BYU and Provo was going crazy Saturday night.
Yeah.
BYU beat the magical underwear off of Kansas State 38-9. Taking BYU to 4-0 on the season. Like, what a start.
Yeah. One
thing I did learn is if there wasn't enough fun with BYU already. Their quarterback, Jake Retzlaff, they call him the BY Jew. Jake is the only starting quarterback with Jewish faith in the FBS. So, like it never ends. It never ends with BYU. I love this team.
That's hilarious. Yeah. Couple thoughts on that. Like the fumble from Giddens didn't help. I think Avery Johnson's inexperience definitely showed in this game. He threw that bad pick towards the end of the second quarter and then turned right back around and did it again when they came out in the third. Yep. So, those mistakes aren't going to help. But BYU's, you just touched on it. BYU's home field advantage, man, that shit's real.
It's real.
And it's needed. They're new to the Big 12. It's needed if you're going to play a lot of these big time games. So yeah, like kudos to the Mormons for showing out.
Some other top 25 results. Illinois beat Nebraska Friday night in overtime. Texas, Ohio State, and Ole Miss all continued just beating everyone's ass. Tennessee went to Oklahoma and won 25-15. Kent State proved our point from last week that they are the assiest of ass, losing 56-0 to Penn State. I don't think they've scored in 3 games now. They're horrendous. Clemson beat NC State 59-35 after scoring 28 in the first quarter. Just to go over some of our pick results from last week, Reese did hit his lock with Ole Miss and missed his dog, and I hit my dog, which was the plus 188 BYU Storm and Mormons versus Kansas State, but I did miss my lock with Boston College in the red bandana game. Boston College did win. They just fell short of covering in that one. All right. Week 5, here we come. I was a very big fan of the Week 5 slate. I think we've got a lot of good games in this week. It's going to be a very fun week, and it kind of starts from noon going all night. The late night viewing for this weekend is going to be must-watch TV. There's some great games from 8 p.m. to midnight, pretty much.
Yeah, I circled a couple games that were late night, and I was like, "Oh, Workman's going to have a heyday with this."
Yeah, it's a great weekend, really. And here in a minute, there's some really big games at noon, actually, too. But
yeah,
well, I'm not going to say this right here, but so kicking it off, Virginia Tech for the man. Sorry, at number 7, Miami. Miami's an 18.5 point favorite at Hard Rock Stadium in Miami Gardens, Florida. 55.5 is the over/under. Friday night, 7:30 on ESPN.
Yeah, if the man is listening, please let us know, because we have done our best to try to make sure we say Virginia Tech and not Tech. These games have historically been close, but Miami's been playing lights out all year, especially in the second half. Virginia Tech's already racked up losses to Vandy and the Rutgers. Friday night lights matchup. I'm taking Miami here to win and cover.
I actually have a little sleepy spot for Miami here. I'm going to take Vatek plus the 18.5. I think it's just too many. I can see Miami winning. Yeah. Virginia Tech. Yeah.
There you go.
I could see Miami winning this by 14-16. I think 18.5 is just too much. Kentucky is going on the road to number 6, Ole Miss. Ole Miss is 17.5 point favorite at Vaught Hemingway Stadium in Oxford, Mississippi. 52.5 is the over/under Saturday at noon on ABC.
Another matchup where these games have been historically close, but I don't think it's going to be that way this time. Rebels keep rolling.
Yeah, I think Kentucky on their home field against Georgia, that was their national championship. Kentucky does. I mean, defensively, they have what could actually slow down the Ole Miss offense. 52.5 is a pretty low over/under for an Ole Miss game, but I still like Ole Miss to get the cover in this one. Minnesota is taking their boat to Ann Arbor. Number 12, Michigan is a 9.5 point favorite at Michigan Stadium in Ann Arbor, Michigan. 36.5 is the over/under. Jesus. Saturday at noon on Fox. This is the big noon kickoff.
A big noon kickoff in Little Brown Jug that's not going to have a whole lot of scoring, according to Vegas. Trojan didn't stop the orgy like we thought. Wolverines got it done down the stretch with their defense. Won the last 3 Little Brown Jug matchups by roughly 30. I don't think the W is going to be that massive, but I'm still going to take Michigan here to win and cover.
Yeah, I kind of think Minnesota might be done. Like I Flex Magic kind of seems like it's gone. I like Michigan. I like them a lot in this game. Number 20, Oklahoma State is going on the road to number 23, Kansas State. Kansas State's a 4.5 point favorite. Both of these teams coming off of huge losses last week. Bill Snyder Family Stadium in the Little Apple, Manhattan, Kansas, 54.5, Saturday at noon on ESPN.
Yeah, I'm still trying to figure out what the hell's going on with this Oklahoma State rushing attack. If they can't figure it out, it's going to be tough to get a W here. I'm gonna say K-State rights the ship here. I'm gonna take K-State here to win and cover.
Yeah, I had a feeling I knew where this game was going. At the beginning of the year, you picked Kansas State and I picked Oklahoma State. So I figured this is our bounce back. Both of us need the win here. So I am going Oklahoma State plus the 4.5. Number 22, they are ranked now in Mormonland. BYU and the BYU going on the road to Baylor. Baylor's a 3.5 point favorite at McLean Stadium in Waco, Texas, home of Chip and Joanna. 45.5 over/under Saturday at noon on the one for fun.
Oh man, that was so many hot mic drops there. Yeah, Storm and Mormons with a big win over K-State at home. This is a tight spread, but Aranda's 13-4 is a home favorite. They're coming off a frustrating overtime loss to Colorado. You know what? I had Baylor down here, but I'm gonna flip it. I'm gonna go BYU.
Yeah, Baylor should have never lost that game last week. That was an absolute disaster. I'll bring it up again. I said Aranda's going to be the first coach fired. I think this one's going a long way towards that. I'm taking BYU to win outright in Waco. Wisconsin in the Dairy Raid is going to take a little journey west to number 13 USC. USC is a 15.5 point favorite at Los Angeles Memorial Coliseum in LA. 50.5 is the over/under Saturday at 3:30 on CBS.
Yeah, enter Braden Locke here, right? So it should help Wisconsin a little bit that they had the bye week coming up against this matchup, but it's in LA. We just talked about how USC's looking good. I don't like the spread here is a little much, but I'm still going to roll with the Trojans here minus the 15.5.
Yeah, it is a little high, but Wisconsin just hasn't shown any ability to play offense yet. And with USC's improved defense, I do like USC at home. Number 15, Louisville going on the road to number 16, Notre Dame. Notre Dame's a 6.5-point favorite at Notre Dame Stadium in Notre Dame / South Bend, Indiana. 47.5 the over under Saturday at 3:30. What a game for the Peacock. This is a big one for them.
Yeah, 100%. Irish coming in looking for some revenge after that loss last year. This should be a fun matchup. Louisville's offense has been hot this year. I think Notre Dame wins this game, but I'm going to take Louisville here plus the points to keep it close enough.
I was on this same thing. I like Notre Dame still to win the game, but I'm not sure they're winning by 6.5. They might win by 3. I'm taking Louisville also. Next, number 21, Oklahoma is a 2.5-point favorite as they go on the road to Auburn, Jordan-Hare Stadium in Auburn, Alabama. 45.5 over under Saturday at 3:30 on ABC.
Yeah, I think there's some questions in this game for both teams on who's going to be under center, whether it's Michael Hawkins or Jackson Arnold for Oklahoma, and then Peyton Thorne or Hank Brown for Auburn. Auburn's turnovers have been killing them. Oklahoma has a more talented roster. I'm going to take the Sooners here to win and cover.
I'm pretty sure from what I've seen, Thorne and Arnold are benched. So I believe it is the second option in both of those, the true freshman getting the start for Oklahoma. I do think Oklahoma's defense is too much regardless for Auburn. But I do like the matchup of Venables and Freeze there. It'll be a fun little offense-defense matchup. But I'm taking Oklahoma also. Arkansas will be facing number 24, Texas A&M. A&M's a 3.5-point favorite at AT&T Stadium, Jerry World in Arlington, Texas. 51.5 over under Saturday at 3:30 on ESPN.
Yeah, Ags have had Arkansas's number since they joined the SEC, but the Razorback defense can cause some issues. It's going to be fun to watch Marcel Reed go up against this defense. I'll take A&M and Elko to get the nod at home. So give me Aggies minus the points.
Now let's go ahead and do that yell together.
All right, so
I knew it was coming.
Reese is on A&M, and I'm joining him. Pass it back to both of us. I'm taking A&M minus 3.5. Mississippi State is going on the road to number 1 Texas, a 38.5-point favorite in an SEC game. DKR, Texas Memorial Stadium in Austin, Texas, 62.5 over under with Saturday at 4:15 on the SEC network.
Yeah, a large spread, but Texas has been destroying opponents. 190 points to 22 given up. Combine that with the pass defense that's been struggling the past couple weeks for Mississippi State. I'm taking the Longhorns here to win and cover.
Yeah, I just couldn't do it. I feel like there's going to be some sort of letdown at some point for Texas. And I mean, Lebby's not a terrible coach. Like, I feel like Mississippi State could form some offense to where they could at least cover this. I mean, they're by no means keeping this close, but maybe Texas only wins by like 32 or 33. So I do like Mississippi State in this one. Number 3, Ohio State is a 23.5-point favorite as they go on the road to Michigan State and Spartan Stadium in East Lansing, Michigan. 48.5 is the over-under Saturday at 7. And another Peacock game. Peacock's getting Notre Dame, Louisville, and Ohio State this weekend.
That's pretty crazy.
It's good for the cock.
Good Lord. Always a little tricky being in a road game with Big Ten. Team Sparty has shown some improvements in year one, but Aiden Childs has been interception prone. That doesn't bode well for Michigan State if they fell behind early. I'm going to take Ohio State here to win and cover.
Yeah, I like Ohio State too. Childs has kind of been struggling a little bit. He hasn't quite got it going yet, so I do like Ohio State in this one. Stanford is going on the road to number 17, Clemson. Clemson's a 21.5-point favorite at Memorial Stadium, Clemson, South Carolina. 57.5 over under Saturday at 7 on ESPN.
Clemson's actually looked pretty decent since the Georgia game. Stanford's looked good since their own week 1 loss against TCU, but Clemson being at home swings this, so I'm going to take the Tigers here to win and cover. Yeah,
Clemson has kind of turned it on. I'm not sure Stanford has enough to keep up with them, so I do like Clemson in this one also. Number 18, Iowa State's a 13.5-point favorite going on the road to Houston at TD-ECU Stadium in Houston, Texas. 43.5 over under Saturday at 7 on the One for Fun.
Yeah, Houston got embarrassed in Cincinnati. Now they're facing arguably the best defense in the Big 12. It's not a good matchup for them. I'm going to take the Cyclones here to win and cover on the road.
I'm holding out hope for Willie Fritz here. The team has shown signs of improvement, at least since the beginning of the season with him. I think they're only going to continue to get better. This being a home game in Iowa State, though they did put up points last week, traditionally they don't score that much. I'm going to go with Houston here at home. Next, number 2, Georgia is a 2.5-point favorite as they go on the road to number 4, Alabama at Bryant-Denny Stadium in Tuscaloosa, Alabama. 48.5 over/under Saturday at 7:30 on ABC.
Oh man, this is going to be such a good game. Bama's won 8 of the last 9. Both teams coming off a bye week. Bulldogs still having a lot of touchdown this year, coming off a bit of an eye opener against a Kentucky team. We talked about that a little bit about how they've got a decent defense. This is going to be a battle. I've gone back and forth on this, but I'm defaulting to the home team here and taking the points. Give me Bama.
I am on Bama as well. I can't wait to see DeBoer and Milroe versus the Georgia defense. That's one thing I've been waiting on. I think it's going to be very fun to watch, and I like Bama on their home field. So taking Bama plus 2.5. Number 19, Illinois is going on the road to number 9, Penn State. Penn State's a 17.5-point favorite. I believe this is the whiteout game at Beaver Stadium, University Park, Pennsylvania. 47.5 Saturday at 7:30 on NBC.
Yep, homecoming for Penn State. The last time these two guys played in Happy Valley was the infamous 9 overtime game that happened in 2021. Illini ended up winning that one. Battle of 2 decent quarterbacks in this game. It should be a good one. I think Penn State wins. Spread's a little bit concerning, so I'm going to take the Illini here plus the points to keep it within 17.
Yeah, I'm the same way. I think Illinois has shown that they can play. I like Penn State even in this, or I like Illinois even in this situation. I like them to get the cover. I don't know if they'll win, but I do think it's a 1-possession game. So I like Illinois. South Alabama is going on the road to number 14, LSU. LSU's a 21.5-point favorite at Tiger Stadium in Baton Rouge, Louisiana. 65.5 over/under Saturday at 7:45 on the SEC network.
Yeah, 65.5 because the South Alabama team's been a scoring machine the past couple of weeks. They're averaging over 65 a game. That's probably going to pose some problems with the Tiger defense, especially because they just lost Harold Perkins for the year. LSU has enough talent to balance the loss out. I'm going to take South Alabama to keep this within 20. I think LSU wins this game, but I'm going to take South Alabama plus the 21.5.
Yeah, I like the environment here. I like a Saturday night in Baton Rouge. I think it's the first one of the season, and I don't think South Alabama is going to be ready for that. So I'm going to take LSU minus the 21.5. And a very, very sneaky good game. This one is one I'm very much looking forward to. Washington State is going on the road to number 25, Boise State. Boise's 7.5-point favorite at Albertson Stadium in Boise, Idaho. 64.5 over/under Saturday at 10 p.m. on the One for Fun.
Yeah, the lineup on these last 3 games just has Workman written all over it.
Awesome.
Yeah, should be a fun game to watch. Ashton Jaunty up against this high-scoring Cougar offense and John Mateer. I definitely bet the over on this one, but I'm going to take the Broncos here minus the 7.5 at home to win on the blue turf.
Yeah, I like Boise at home also. Keep the playoff hope alive and keep getting towards that conference championship matchup with Fresno is what I'm hoping. Arizona going on the road to number 10, Utah. Utah's a 12.5-point favorite at Rice-Eccles Stadium in Salt Lake City. 48.5 is the over-under Saturday at 10:15 on ESPN.
Yeah, it's time to play the Will Can Play game.
Yeah, right.
Really, I don't think it matters. I love this Arizona squad and like watching them play, but it's Utah at home. Isaac Wilson's been playing well. They've got a triple threat going between all these guys. I'm taking the Utes to win and cover.
Yeah, I'm going against my own philosophy here. This is something I don't think I've ever done, but I'm going to take Arizona on the road at Utah. I think they might win this game if Cam doesn't play. I can't wait for this game. This is going to be a great game. But I mean, Utah's defense has shown what they can do, and then match up with the Arizona offense in Rice-Eccles. That's a big deal. But that's what I'm looking forward to. That's probably my favorite game of the weekend, to be honest. But I am on Arizona. Number 8, Oregon is a 24.5-point favorite as they go to UCLA in the Rose Bowl, Pasadena, California. 55.5 over/under Saturday. We got an 11 p.m. kickoff on Fox.
Yeah, Ducks coming off a bye. They've had a week to prep for a UCLA team that's really had a tough schedule to start the year. Oregon looked like it woke up a bit in their last game against the Beavers, but this one being in the Rose Bowl has got me a little paused on the spread. I think the Ducks get the W here, but I'm going to take the 24.5.
Yeah, it's a little much, but I just think UCLA is not good. So I'm going to take Oregon to get the cover here. So that wraps up the top 25 picks. We're going to roll into the Muncie 6-pack. Got a fun one going Friday night. Washington going on the road to Rutgers. Rutgers is a 2.5-point favorite at SHI Stadium in Piscataway, New Jersey. 44.5 over under Friday at 8 on Fox.
Hey, that abbreviation was all you. That one wasn't me. Rutgers got a good win against Virginia Tech last week on the road. Scarlet Knights have a tough defense. Friday Night Lights, Washington traveling across the country. I don't like that for the Huskies. I'm going to take Rutgers here at home minus the points.
Yeah, if you go back to our season preview, Rutgers was one of the teams that I was pretty big on. Still undefeated at this point, and this was a game that when we picked it then, I picked them to win. I'm picking them still to win it. I like them minus the 2.5 here. Crazy game. This game is a big game. Maryland going on the road to IU. IU's a 6.5-point favorite at Memorial Stadium in Bloomington, Indiana. 55.5 over under Saturday at noon on the Big Ten Network.
Yeah, both these teams have had a good start to the year. IU's looking particularly good with Rourke under center. This is definitely IU's toughest matchup of the season. It may come down to the wire here, but I'm going to take IU here minus the points at home.
Yeah, I'm going to the closest gas station to Memorial Stadium and buying all the cigs. We're taking IU minus 6.5 here. Another Indiana team. I'm not sure how this one's going to go, but Ball State going on the road to JMU. JMU's a 20.5-point favorite at Bridgeforth Stadium in Harrisonburg, Virginia. 57.5 over under Saturday at 1:30 on the plus.
Yeah, frustrating game for Ball State. You know, they had the lead going into the fourth quarter and then gave up 2 scores in the last 5 minutes to lose that one. Last week's JMU game looked like a basketball score against North Carolina. It was 70-50. I don't know if Ball U can keep pace. Screw it. Give me the Cards plus the 20.5. Got to throw it to my boys here.
I mean, Ball, they've played well. Like I think this might be a little bit of a different story. I don't think it's going to be as much of the score that the road game in Miami was, but I think they're probably going to get destroyed in this one. So I'm sticking with JMU. Colorado is going on the road to UCF. UCF's a 15.5-point favorite at FBC Mortgage Stadium in Orlando, Florida. The Bounce House, 63.5 is the over-under Saturday at 3:30 on Fox.
Yeah, Team Prime got a miracle W last week against Baylor, but this UCF offense is much more potent. Stellar run game from the Knights is going to pose problems for this defense. I'm taking the Knights here minus the points at home.
UCF to me is just a team that always has letdown spots. They haven't impressed me really that much lately, especially under Malzahn. Like I don't know. I'm going with Colorado in this one plus the 15.5. I just think that they can go in and score with them. Like I think this will be a close game, and I think Colorado definitely 15.5. I think is a lot that they're getting. Liberty is a 3.5-point favorite going on the road to App State at Kidd Brewer Stadium in Boone, North Carolina. 60.5 over under Saturday at 3:30 on the plus.
Neither of these teams have been performing well against the spread this year, but I just don't think App State's going to be able to slow this offense down enough. So I'm going to take Liberty here minus the 3.5.
Well, I always say when you go to App State, that's where dreams go to die. I think we saw it last year with JMU, and I think we might see it right now with Liberty. I'm taking App State. Fresno State going on the road to UNLV. UNLV is a 4.5-point favorite at Allegiant Stadium in Las Vegas, Nevada. 50.5 over under Saturday at 3:30 on the One for Fun.
You can get a lot of them on the One for Fun this week. I love it.
I know.
UNLV's already got a couple big wins under their belt in Houston and Kansas. Although if you look at the stats, UNLV probably should have lost that game against Kansas. But if Mikey Keene can avoid the turnovers and get the ball moving through the air, they should get the W. This is likely going to be close to the spread, but I'm going to take UNLV here minus the 4.5.
Yeah, Fresno. I'm going to keep Fresno's playoff hopes alive. So I'm going to take Fresno plus the 4.5 and hopefully win it outright. Florida State going on the road to SMU. SMU is a 5.5-point favorite at Gerald J. Ford Stadium in Dallas, Texas. 47.5 over under Saturday at 8:00 on the ACC network.
Yeah, Knowles finally get their first W last week, although it was still tightly contested. DJU still isn't doing anything impressive. It's a wonder that he's still in there. If this is what we're going to see for the rest of the year, it doesn't necessarily bode well for the Chop. Either way, I think SMU is going to come into this ready to go. Big matchup. I just don't know if the Noles are going to be able to slow these guys down enough offensively. So I'm going to take SMU here minus the 5.5.
Yeah, it's going to be a fun environment. SMU playing their first home ACC game, and Florida State, a shitty Florida State team, is coming to town. It'll be fun. I mean, it's a night game too, so it's basically everything SMU could have dreamed of when they joined the conference. But I'm still going to take Florida State plus 5.5. I think we're still more. We have a better team than SMU. If they can just play a complete game, they should win this game. So I'm going to take Florida State. All right, so that will wrap up the Muncie 6-pack. It is now time to pick the lock of the week. Reese, you can start with your lock of the week.
Sticking with my Rebels here to get the big win over Kentucky for my lock.
I feel like Ole Miss has been your pick every week. That's probably not true, but it does seem like it.
It's not true, but they're comfort food for sure.
Yeah, right. So my lock of the week. We're going to be singing Mr. Brightside very loud in Ann Arbor Saturday. I think Minnesota sucks. I think their season is over. I think this is going to be a thrashing. Michigan, kind of a coming out party for the orgy. So give me Michigan minus 9.5, and I think they win this one big. Dog of the week. Reese, who you got for the dog?
I'm going Bama over Georgia. Little bit of a gamble here, but Bama at home, DeBoer with a lot to prove. Roll Tide.
Somebody said Roll Tide won't roll. We undefeated at the house, same thing on the road.
Yeah, I really hope that happens. I'd love to see Kalen DeBoer go in there and win that game on their home field, but I would love to see him get a big statement win. My dog of the week, this might come as a surprise to anyone that's ever listened to this show in history because I'm usually against this team. But give me Coach Prime and the Colorado Buffaloes going to Orlando against UCF plus 450 on the money line. It's not a bad one. It's not a bad one. So that will wrap up our NCAA Week 5 picks. Like, subscribe, share, comment, do whatever you want to do. Just get it to people. Check out our NFL episode. We'll be picking NFL Week 4.
God, what a shit show the NFL's been this year.
NFL's been crazy. A lot of unpredictability.
Yes.
So for NCAA Week 5, that is it. I am Jacob Porkman, and that is Reese Downing, and we will see you guys next week. So have a good one, everyone.
Cheers, guys.